I moved into a small, remote town, nestled deep in the woods of Oregon. The air was different here, thick and heavy with an energy I couldn't quite explain. The townspeople were pleasant but carried an unsettling stillness, eyes always averted, as if they were hiding a terrible secret. But I was desperate for a change, and the seclusion offered by this place seemed perfect. One day, while exploring the dense forest that surrounded the town, I stumbled upon an old, decaying mansion. A sense of dread washed over me, but curiosity got the better of me. The front door was ajar, inviting yet ominous. I hesitated before stepping inside. I wasn't alone. I could feel eyes watching me from the shadowed corners of the house. The air was dense with the stench of decay. I ventured deeper into the mansion, each step echoing through the hallways, announcing my presence to whatever lurked in the darkness. I came across a room, its door barely hanging on its hinges. Inside, walls adorned with grotesque paintings, images of twisted, monstrous creatures that seemed to stare into the very depths of my soul. A journal lay on the decaying wooden desk, its pages yellowed and brittle. The scrawling handwriting told a tale of unspeakable horrors, cryptic beings that haunted the woods, their thirst for human souls unquenchable. The sounds of whispers filled the air, voices speaking in a language unknown, their sinister tones sending chills down my spine. A shadowed figure loomed in the corner of the room. Its eyes, cold and lifeless, stared at me, filled with an unholy glee. I ran. The hallways twisted and turned, the walls closing in. A sinister laughter echoed around me. The forest called to the creatures of the night, their grotesque silhouettes dancing in the moonlight. I realized then the terror inscribed in the pages of that journal were not the raving of a madman, but horrific truths too unspeakable to be believed. The cryptids were real, and they had claimed this town, casting their dark shadows over the souls of its people. As I ran, a piercing scream filled the air. I was not alone in the forest. I stumbled upon a horrifying sight. A grotesque creature, its eyes as dark as the night, claws sharp and gleaming in the moonlight, had a young woman in its sinister grasp. The townspeople surrounded them, their eyes lifeless, voices chanting in an unholy symphony. I tried to move, but my body was paralyzed, the creature's sinister gaze holding me captive. It spoke in a voice that made my blood run cold, its words echoing the horrifying tales inscribed in the ancient journal. I was a prisoner in this haunted town, another soul claimed by the terrifying cryptids that lurked in the shadowed forests. Every night, their sinister laughter fills the air, a chilling reminder of the unspeakable horrors that lay beyond the decaying walls of the mansion. I am trapped, a prisoner of the haunting melodies that echo through the darkened woods, the grotesque figures that dance in the moonlight, their eyes cold and lifeless, forever watching, waiting. The town's secret is a curse, a terrifying reality I am now a part of. Each night the cryptids claim another soul, their sinister laughter echoing the chilling fate that awaits us all. The dense forest, once a sanctuary, now a haunted prison, echoes with the chilling melodies of the creatures of the night. I am their prisoner, the haunting images of twisted, monstrous beings forever etched in my soul, the sinister laughter a constant reminder of the unspeakable horrors that lurk in the darkened corners of this cursed town. Every shadow, every whisper, a chilling echo of the terror that awaits, as the cryptids, grotesque and sinister, claim the souls of those who dare venture into the haunting darkness of the forest. In the silence of the night, their eyes cold and lifeless, forever watching, waiting, the haunting melody of the cryptids fills the air, a chilling reminder of the terrifying fate that awaits us all. I am a prisoner in this haunted town, another soul claimed by the creatures of the night, forever trapped in the shadowed forests, where the sinister laughter of the cryptids echoes the unspeakable horrors that lay beyond the decaying walls of the mansion. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the leaves, a chilling echo of the terror that lurks in the darkness. The cryptids are real, and they have claimed this town, casting their dark shadows over the souls of its people. The townspeople are forever changed, their eyes lifeless, voices silenced, prisoners of the haunting melodies that echo through the darkened woods. I am one of them now, a soul claimed by the creatures of the night, forever trapped in the shadowed forests, where the sinister laughter of the cryptids echoes the unspeakable horrors that lay beyond the decaying walls of the mansion. I remember that night as if it was yesterday. The moon was obscured by dark, ominous clouds, painting the woods with an eerie silence, magnifying the isolation of my cabin nestled deep within. I was a curious boy of 17, possessed by an unquenchable thirst for the mysteries that lay veiled in the darkness. That evening, I found an ancient, tattered book buried within the depths of my grandfather's attic, its pages whispering of cryptids, creatures of nightmares, believed to lurk in the remotest corners of the world. My insatiable curiosity, as always, got the better of me. Armed with a flashlight and the cryptic instructions contained within those aged pages, I ventured into the woods, where the wind howled through the trees like the moans of tormented souls. After what felt like an eternity, I stumbled upon the ruins of what appeared to be an old sanctuary, just as the book had described. An ancient stone structure, ensnared by the wild roots and branches of the forest that sought to reclaim it. According to the text, this forsaken place was a gateway to the sinister world of the cryptids. With the incantations from the book trembling on my lips, an icy wind swept through the woods, extinguishing my flashlight. I stood frozen, surrounded by a darkness so absolute it felt almost palpable. That's when I heard it. A low growl, an unspeakable horror echoing in the inky blackness. In the blink of an eye, I was ensnared by an icy grip. Every attempt to escape, each struggle, was met with a sinister laugh that made the blood in my veins run cold. A ghostly pale moonlight then revealed the creature. Its eyes, black as coal, pierced through my soul, and its gnarled, bony fingers clutched my arms with a force I couldn't reckon. I realized the terror I'd unleashed. A cryptid, a creature of unspeakable horror, enslaved by the ancient incantations contained within that cursed book. It was a prisoner no more. I was dragged through the woods like a lamb to the slaughter, the echo of my own heartbeat drowning the sinister laughter of the creature. I found myself in a clearing where the moonlight painted ghastly silhouettes on the ground. An altar, ancient and cold, stood there, and as I was hoisted upon it, I caught sight of other cryptids, unspeakable horrors of every form and shape imaginable, summoned from their sinister realm. In the eerie silence of that haunted night, surrounded by grotesque creatures of nightmare, I realized the horrifying truth. The incantations weren't meant to summon them, but to imprison them, and I had just set them free. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as the horrors of that night haunted my every waking moment. I was a prisoner in my own home, the ominous woods echoing the sinister laughter of the cryptids, forever reminding me of the unspeakable horror I'd unleashed upon the world. As I recount this tale, the cursed book lies beside me, its ancient pages now stained with the horrifying truth of that fateful night. I am a haunted man, forever ensnared in the sinister grip of the cryptids, condemned to a lifetime of torment. For in the dark, silent hours of the night, when the wind howls through those ominous woods, I hear them, whispering my name, reminding me of the eternal curse that binds us, a chilling testament to the unspeakable horrors that lurk in the dark corners of the world, forever waiting to be unleashed. I remember the feeling of dread washing over me, the subtle terror that begins as a quiver in the belly and quickly takes control of your entire body. I was 14, a mere child embarking on the passage to manhood, not yet familiar with the world's dark recesses. Our small town, nestled amidst a sea of endless woods, was quaint and quiet, and we the naive inhabitants, untouched by the horrors that lurk in the obscurity of the night. It was here in this silent haven that I first heard of the beast. A cryptid, some called it. An animal, half mythical, that roamed the woods bringing terror and death. "Don't wander into the woods after dark," our elders warned. But youthful courage, or perhaps foolishness, knows no bounds. One evening, impelled by a dare, I ventured into the deep woods. The nocturnal songs of crickets and rustling leaves filled the air as the ghostly light of the full moon guided my steps. My bravest friends accompanied me, our hearts pulsating in unison, echoing the morbid rhythm of a funeral drum. Hours passed, and emboldened by the absence of the dreaded beast, we delved deeper into the woods until the faint lights of our town were but a distant memory. It was then that the unforeseen occurred. A gust of icy wind swept through the trees, silencing the songs of the night. We were not alone. A silhouette, grotesque and fearsome, emerged from the depths of the darkness. Its eyes, red like the fires of hell, locked onto ours. We were prey. Fear, potent and uncontested, choked us. We were statues, paralyzed amidst the daunting woods. The creature, its sinewy frame covered in scales that glistened under the haunting moonlight, approached. I, more dead than alive, could hear the sinister symphony of its breath, feel the icy menace that emanated from its form. Every cell in my body screamed for escape, yet immobilized we stood, gazing into the eyes of death. But fate, twisted and cruel, spared us that night. With an animalistic snarl, the creature retreated into the darkness. We, souls marked and forever changed, returned to the world of the living. The woods, our childhood sanctuary, were never the same. We were the boys who had looked into the abyss, and in the depths found a terror that would haunt our nights for eternity. We were the chosen, spared by the cryptid. A haunting revelation, a sinister mystery that to this day, under the haunting gaze of the moon, awakens the tremors of that night, the unspeakable horror of the creature of the dark woods. Though I've aged, ventured into the world beyond, and beheld sights both wondrous and terrible, the woods call me back. In the whispering winds and silent nights, I hear the cryptid's haunting breath, a sinister symphony forever echoing the terror of our encounter. Years went by, the harrowing experience morphing into ghostly whispers that echoed through the town. We, the survivors, bore the invisible scars, silent testimonials of that fateful night. A pact of silence veiled our words. The ominous woods, dark and foreboding, stood untouched by human presence. Yet curiosity, as insidious as the sinister whisperings of a possessed soul, gnawed at me. A quest for truth, a dance with danger, a flirtation with the very embodiment of terror that lurked in the eerie silence of the woods. On a haunting night, bathed in the ominous glow of the full moon, an echo of that terrifying encounter, I ventured alone into the demonic embrace of the woods. The cryptid, an unsolved mystery, a horrifying specter of my past, called to me from the echoing silence. Deep into the heart of the abyss, the sinister symphony of the night serenaded my solitary expedition. Trees, like demonic sentinels, cast long, eerie shadows that danced to the mournful songs of the enigmatic woods. It was amidst this symphony of silent screams and ghostly sights that the cryptid emerged. A specter, horrifying yet magnetic, its red eyes piercing the ominous night, echoing the fires of hell. Yet, a revelation, stark and unnerving, cast its haunting shadow. The cryptid, a beast of unspeakable horror, bore in its ominous gaze a reflection of the soul. We, the children marked by the encounter, were not mere spectators, but integral chapters of this haunting narrative. I stood, locked in the cryptid's gaze, and in the horrifying depths of its eyes, unveiled the terrifying truth. We, the chosen, were not spared but marked. Every horrifying echo, every silent whisper, every nocturnal haunting was a sinister dance of souls intertwining. In the horrifying embrace of the cryptid, I found not just a beast of unspeakable horror, but a mirror echoing the deepest, darkest recesses of the soul. We were not distinct, but horrifying reflections, a dance of souls damned to echo the sinister symphony of the night for all eternity. The truth, stark and insidious, whispered its sinister revelations. The cryptid, a beast of the ominous woods, was a creation, a horrifying manifestation, echoing the darkest, unspeakable depths of our souls. I returned, a soul marked, carrying the silent screams of the horrifying revelation. The cryptid, an unsolved mystery for the town, was to me a haunting specter of the soul's darkest, most terrifying depths.